Are you a self-published author? Are you looking to promote your book? We are looking for you. I personally know how hard it is to write a book, as I always seem to be writing one but never finishing it. Get the word out to listeners in 42 countries and growing about your literary masterpiece. Go to bookinterrupted.com/sponsorship for more information.
We're doing another contest here on Book Interrupted. During the Seeing Red book cycle, we're giving away a NYX Mixed Flow period underwear kit. To find out more, go to www.bookinterrupted.com/contests. Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
But no water, like none. And then reading the book, I'm like, how am I alive?
That actually never will occur because all the research was done on men.
PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and I'm not diagnosed and I don't know, but
like this is the worst and I'm anticipating it and I'm feeling emotional about it and I'm worried and
being like, whatever, I feel bad, I'm just going to have a glass of wine or two.
I actually get a pumpkin and dry the pumpkin seeds myself. And then
you just go take it to the next level.
Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted.
Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Trying to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
This book cycle is proudly supported by My Balanced Life, helping you find inner balance through individual, corporate, and community wellness programs. My Balanced Life offers wellness sessions across many disciplines, including Chinese medicine, which was discussed in this month's book, Seeing Red. Fully licensed and registered practitioners are available for one-on-one in-person treatments and virtual coaching sessions. As a valued Book Interrupted listener, you can book a free 15-minute consultation at www.mybalancedlife.ca/bookinterrupted. That's www.mybalancedlife.ca/bookinterrupted to learn more and book your free consultation. You can find the link in the show notes below.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle's from March 28th to May 2nd. It's Lindsay's book pick, and we're reading the book Seeing Red by Kirsten Karchmer. Seeing Red breaks down the lies women have been made to believe about their periods and how to achieve a healthy cycle. Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
What does everybody want to go around and say one thing maybe that they learned or something that was important for them that they got out of it? I don't know if that feels...
Yep.
Before we do that, can I say one thing that shocked me that I meant to bring up when Meredith talking? I was shocked. I don't know if you guys knew this. I didn't know that like labs and medical research are only done on males because of women's hormones. I didn't know that. Like, I don't know if anyone else felt super shocked by that, but I was like, that floored me. I had no clue that was a fact.
It's crazy, right? Because then how do you know what pharmaceuticals are going to do? And like the dosing, they just say, okay, well, like this weight, you just like change it to this other weight. But like, it's just our bodies are a little bit different.
I think it's also white men, right? Mostly white men.
It is mostly
that's
white,
a huge problem
educated.
Too. Yeah.
Like that surprised me just because I'm very careful with medications because I get the side effects.
Me too.
Some of them are like full body rash or, whatever, like.
What are some of the horrific side effects? Yeah,
I've had vertigo once.
No way.
Like, it's just...
I almost died on one.
Mare almost died.
It was my first near-death experience. This is why I'm not scared of death, because I've almost died a couple times.
You have. Remember when we went white water rafting? And I was like,
yeah, that was my second.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
one.
know if she's going to surface again. I
thought I was dead then too.
Yeah. Or you got hit by the car. That was pretty. And her whole face was like puffy. I remember in Halloween, you had like makeup everywhere. And,
Garbage pail kid.
I didn't think I was going to die then, but the whitewater rafting, I accepted that I was about to die. And
I
then
even came to terms as a witness. I was like, I think I need to get comfortable with the fact that Meredith may or may not surface.
It's so peaceful to almost die. Both times I was so at peace. And so I'm not scared of dying. It was just like,
that gave me shivers.
I said, like the first one with the medication, I said goodbye to my mom. And that's when she's like, time to go back to the hospital again. We went to the hospital emergency 3 times before they realized. And they're like, we told you it's not the medication. She's like, she's on 2 medications. They're like, and they came back, they're like, it is a medication. Yeah. They're like, we're going to give her whatever they give you. Adrenaline? I don't know.
Yeah, what is
They
it?
give me something.
Yeah.
I was not doing okay. I looked like the crypt keeper.
I remember it.
I did. I was like,
I remember it. I was like, Mom,
okay.
what? Like, do something.
That's the thing. But that's the thing. When like medications are only tested on a portion of the population, namely white men, it's not helpful. You just don't really know what's going to happen, I suppose. But Sarah and I are both very sensitive to medications, but I don't like to take them. But those anticonvulsant medications are pretty nasty anyway. So that's what that one was. It was an anticonvulsant.
To add on to what your shock, Sarah, around the research, it was a few years ago when I started to consider the possibility of being like a certified group fitness instructor. And all of a sudden I come across like in all this research and getting your certification and doing all that all the medical stuff that's put out there in the fitness world around how to achieve like slim waistline and how to build that lean muscle. And it was almost exclusively on the exact same, it's white, usually around 25 years old, slightly educated males. And I was like, so for years, I've been reading about and trying experiments on my own body, anticipating certain results that actually never will occur because all the research was done on men. And that actually led to me discovering there's other people out there in the world that women can actually work out differently, and you can use movement as a form of regulating hormones. You spread out your intervals to be about 2 to 3 minutes so that your body has time to drop the cortisol and adrenaline. And then you'll start to be able to get rid of like things like belly fat. But it's just not talked about because all the freaking research is on 25-year-old white male athletes who go to university.
Okay, so we could go back to Lindsay's question now, if you want. Like
what
what
was my
people
question?
thought.
Oh, what have people learned?
Oh, well,
Well,
our takeaway.
yeah, or something.
That was a takeaway. So you were just the first
It's
answer.
true.
That was great. Yeah.
Kim, you haven't
did it.
spoken a lot.
Yeah.
But do you want to start?
For my takeaway for this book,
For
Yeah.
seeing
What did you learn?
I said this in my personal journal, but like I felt that, so I guess from my studies, I already knew some of the background about tests being on men and whatever, but so I wasn't shocked about it. It's sad, right? And revealing, but mine's really, I feel like simple. I really liked, like, I'll read a book and I won't remember like 90% of it, right? I'll know, okay, it was about periods or whatever, right? So, but for the things that stick with me. So this one's that stuck with me is to chug water before you have your coffee. That was just such a hot tip for me. I was like, I can do that. Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for things that I can easily do that will help me improve my health rather than be like, oh, don't ever eat any grain again or whatever, like something crazy or remove all sugar, even though it's very, very hidden. So you'll never find it. And it's an impossible journey, but good luck, right? Like
Good luck to you.
Yeah. So Godspeed. I just like the fact that she's like, here's an idea. You could consume 16 ounces of water before you even have your first cup of coffee. And I'm like, yes, I can. So
I love chugging water in the morning. I have a water bottle beside
so
me. Go. Like just probably still breastfeed.
And try
I have
room
a glass
temperature.
of water. Yeah, room temperature glass of water with one little teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in the morning.
Yeah, first thing I do.
Before I do. Me too. Yeah.
And I hate
love
it every time.
Yeah.
I love like
every
our
time.
age. It's like, it's just very telling of our age that all of us are like, of course, lukewarm. Like we all went through like the lukewarm period where everybody's like, you have to drink lukewarm, right? Like I'm sure it's all fine or whatever. Or room temperature, not lukewarm. That we're all like, yeah, room temperature water. Talking about like the drinking water, the easy things. I tried the seed cycling. I'm not good at that. Like keeping track. Like now it's time to switch over. Would it do the same if you just put all the seeds every day? Like, can't we just
No,
do that?
because I think the first two are supposed to increase estrogen, and the second two are supposed to regulate estrogen, and the second two are supposed to regulate progesterone.
We're saving
I was
them.
like,
oh
yes.
my God.
It's a resounding yes. Multitask that
No,
shit.
not. No.
Okay,
Damn it.
I think you need like an advent calendar type thing then.
Yeah,
what you
that would
need.
be
Like,
so cool.
I mean, not advent,
That would
but
be
you know.
so cool. What a good
Period
idea.
advent
Seed
calendar.
I came
calendar.
up with a business proposition idea to Sarah. This was like well over a year ago when I revisited, because I've revisited seed cycling periodically. And this was on like the last biggest kick. And I was like, bars are so popular, like protein bars. I was like, why don't they make like a 28-day kit for women to buy? And
every
like
month.
15 of them are going to be like heavy on the sunflower seeds. And the other are going to be like real heavy on the pumpkin seeds. And they'll have color coding or whatever. But then Sarah brought me down to earth. And the reality.
And then chocolate at the end.
In a very kind way.
In like the bestest way.
What's the reality? I still think it's a good
idea. I was like, we could buy.
You have no idea.
I was like, because I used to work for. I used to work for 2 different bar companies, right? Because I worked for Vega and they had bars, and then I worked for Kind and they had bars. I was like, you can do it, but it is very expensive to get into that market, and not to mention it is a very mature market. So you're going to be competing with companies that have a lot of money, and not to mention a lot of these multinationals are now buying the bar companies. The budgets that they have, it's like you could do it. It's just very expensive because you have to, manufacture them, store them, warehouse them, packaging. Like it's just
sell them before they go bad.
Yeah,
throw the ones
you didn't sell. That came out of Sarah, I was like, I had no.
These are the things you need to start with. You need to source the seeds, and you need
I was like,
find a manufacturer for the bars. And then you need to determine what kind of packaging you would like to do. And then we need to then go how you're going to warehouse them. Are you going to go distribute? Then I did a whole thing, and I was like, but I think it's a great idea. But you could also buy Kind bars that have those seeds in them.
I know.
Actually, if you wanted
True point.
Not even make anything yourself. Buy one's heavy in sunflower seeds, and then buy one's heavy in pumpkin seeds.
Fair enough.
And then you're done. Voila.
You and your logic.
But I thought it was a great idea. It would be nice that each day of your period, you'd be like, oh, I just eat this bar or whatever. But
and I'm done dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of do it I have it in the fridge. So every time I get up in the morning, I see it in the fridge right there, so that I just do 2 tablespoons and blend them up and then throw it in my oatmeal or whatever. But ever since I started doing it, my periods have been weird.
Really?
My one was 20, less. It was 20 days. And then everything's weird. So I don't know if I'm going to continue to do it, because
she said 3 months, but
yeah.
How many people do you think actually make it to 3 months?
Yeah, I'm trying, but it's.
I mean,
yeah.
I made it. I started it on the second 2 weeks, and then I kept that up, and then I was like, oh, now I switch, and then I didn't pay attention to when to switch back, and then I
couldn't even get past purchasing them at the grocery store. I was like, oh, this is too expensive.
Them. I have a lot of seeds, and I keep a lot of seeds.
I couldn't even find them. I had to actually get a pumpkin and dry the pumpkin seeds myself. And then
you just go take it to the next level. And you're always taking it to the next level.
Well, I couldn't get them here.
I planted a pumpkin plant.
and I waited patiently. I watered it with love. I
thought about planting sunflower seeds. I think I might have put that in a personal journal. I was like, I have sunflowers at my farm before. Maybe I should plant some. And then I found the only sesame seeds I could find were ground ones for making things. So I made myself a hummus for the second half and ate it kind of every day. But the seed cycling is not going to work for me, because I started having the pumpkin seeds again. And I'm just like, I'm not even really doing it, because I can't find flax seeds. And yeah, so anyway.
Flax seeds taste so gross.
I don't mind. I used to do flax seeds in my smoothies.
I thought flax seeds are kind of sweet. I like them.
Yeah, in my 20s, I used to do that.
Although it was funny to watch Leah take the shot of all the dried stuff.
Yeah, the dry stuff. I was like, oh no, don't chew it.
Don't chew dry seeds. No. I mean, the rest of them are fine just eating dry, right?
Yeah, don't eat
That's how you find that stuff out.
It is.
I know.
But I did start putting different things in smoothies for me and my kids that are here, moringa, which is high in iron, it's green. And then baobab, which is another superfood. I started putting other things in. So I wonder if that helped my period because it like I still like got bloating and all that stuff, but I didn't get the exhaustion. But I wonder if it's because I started doing what she suggested by cutting. Now I do half decaf and half cop. I do that now because I'm like, I think I might be that girl.
I want to know what's wrong with that too, because I do drink so much coffee. I tried to cut it down after reading this book.
Oh, it interrupts your adrenaline, and your adrenaline has a relationship with your, what is it? That your thyroid, your progesterone, and your estrogen. That's why. Caffeine messes up the...
Did you guys find anyone who's cutting back caffeine? Have you found my skin is like...
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Me too. Look.
Like it's making my skin better. Yeah. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, did you know that the acne virus actually hides out in your adrenals?
Oh.
Yep.
And I've been way calmer. Like,
Yeah, me too. It's so annoying.
I just feel like I can get through, like, I already have hyperfocus, as we've all determined, discussed.
Flow! You have flow! You have flow.
Or I have flow, right? I slip into flow very easily. But I found that
She's got easy
flow. Period.
That's what's on your cup. Easy flow.
Yeah, totally.
Sounds like flow like in period. It's like I slip into my period. No.
I slip into my period.
Yeah,
So easy.
just like that.
That makes me think of that Riding the Crimson Wave video that Leah sent.
But yeah, I've been able to not feel like I felt like I was rushing against time. And I think maybe it's just the caffeine. Because now I don't feel like I'm rushing against time. I'm like, oh, everything's just coming so easy. Everything's like mapped out now, right? But I think maybe it's just caffeine makes me think, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Instead of me just doing what I'm doing and being like, oh, I got that one done too.
On caffeine, you spike, right? So you'll get like a quick bolt and then you crash.
I have like a weird relationship with
sugar.
caffeine. Like I have a different experience than everyone else. Like
Tell
I can
us.
have a coffee and go straight to bed. Like,
I can do that too, but I would be shocked if you're sensitive to medication. It'd be shocking if it didn't affect you. You're so sensitive to stuff.
It's true, but I think it's just like some people.
Because I go to bed right after having coffee.
Yeah, I could have it anytime. It doesn't affect. I don't.
My sleep at all. Nothing affects my
really?
sleep.
I can't even have a tea, a caffeinated tea.
Yeah.
Anywhere after 3, I'm done. I can't sleep.
I'm like 12 o'clock
I
noon.
don't get jittery either.
I could drink a pot of coffee and I won't get jittery.
Yeah, me too.
I've been both.
There's like something wrong with my brain. I mean, we all know that.
No, don't say that.
What about chocolate? Because there's caffeine in chocolate. Does chocolate make you?
Yeah, do we know how much caffeine is in chocolate? Is it like a lot?
Well, chocolate has 2 stimulants. One's caffeine. Let me try to think what the other one is, but they both compete with melatonin in the brain, don't they? Isn't that how it works?
Ooh, I wonder if this is a brain-related epilepsy likeness.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. I wonder if it is.
Oh my God.
I don't know anyone else with epilepsy, so I'm
that
always
be
like,
cool?
oh, I got that too. You're the only person I know who has it. So.
Right? Only 2% of the population has epilepsy. So
There you
it
go.
doesn't really come up.
Yeah, and you both can have caffeine right before bed and sleep. That's.
I'm fine.
Well, I
Yeah,
could do
can
that
have-
too, though.
I can have an espresso.
I don't have epilepsy.
Oh, you can do that too.
Well, I don't wish this for you then, KJ.
Yeah.
This is an early warning sign, KJ. Oh, God.
When Leah was younger, though, she did have to pay more attention to the caffeine intake. She was, as we were starting to discover her epilepsy, though, that caffeine was a trigger. Was that like that for you, Meredith?
I definitely dehydration, so it'd be hard to separate them out because if I'm drinking a lot of coffee, I'm always drinking a lot of water. Like the things that I usually drink are either coffee, water, tea, or beer. That's like the things I drink. I don't really drink anything else. So if I drink a lot of coffee, I try to keep up on the water because dehydration is definitely.
I think that's what I wanted to ask Kirsten about too, is like, because when I read the book, then I was realizing how important or how damaging caffeine could be. And I was drinking like pots of coffee, like coffee all day, all morning until it's all gone. And I was like, and also her reinforcing how important water is, which is something I know, but I've never taken seriously. And so I literally drink coffee and then maybe wine. but no water, like none. I was, and and then reading the book, I'm like, how am I alive? Like, am I literally just getting enough hydration from all
In
this
your food?
coffee?
And your
That's
food.
what I mean. Like, I should be, based on my consumption of water at a certain time. I've tried to put it up. It's not as much as it could be now, but like, yeah, like I would go for days and not drink water.
But there's water in coffee.
That's
like
what I mean.
You are getting hydration
Only
somewhat
from
the coffee.
But coffee is a diuretic too, right? So
yeah,
fruits. So you get water
Fruits
from
and
fruit,
vegetables.
and vegetables have water in them.
I'm drinking coffee, wine, and eating poutine. That is it. So is there
Potatoes have water.
You're living your best life is what you're doing. That's why you're alive. You're living the best life.
Because you're happy.
You are truly living.
And newsflash, your belly flat is not from menopause. Your belly fat is from the poutine.
It makes me want a glass of wine right now. Why you bring it up?
I know, right? Whenever I say wine, I'm like, what time is it?
And a coffee, like one in each hand.
I really like in the book how she really divides, like she'll say, reinforces a few times the idea of getting proper sleep. That's a huge thing. You know, drinking lots of water, like just the basic things we all know, but it's nice to have, like, to be reminded about those kind of things.
We all need to be reminded.
For sure.
Well, and I think that society kind of gives an opposite message. Or like when you're in your 20s, right? Like, oh, you don't need to, like, we tell ourselves, right? We'll go out all night, then we'll get up for our job, maybe with a hangover, like whatever. And then for me, being reminded that sleep is important was like being told again for the first time. Right? Being like, oh, yeah, like there could be a really easy fix here if I just went to friggin' bed.
Yep.
You know, like 2 hours earlier or whatever.
But we do have a tendency to like overcomplicate in some areas, right? Like, why is my body responding this way? And instead of just going, oh yeah, have I had enough water? Have I had enough regular sleep? Like I do that.
What have I been eating?
I over dramatize.
Restaurants.
Yeah, everything. What could it be?
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book Interrupted.
My interruption is daydreaming about interior design. I'm moving and I'm so like obsessed with stupid Pinterest boards on like paint palettes and fabrics and bedding and just like making a whole cohesive concept for all the rooms in my house to be different but flow together, and how to make everything seem like a modern 70s vibe, which is like, God, I like really overconceptualize stuff. So yeah, that's my, like for a month straight, my interruption is like my brain doesn't do what I want it to do. It only dreams of like, what color of like ochre gold feels the vibe I'm going for. Fuck. That's my interruption.
Book Interrupted.
All right, Sarah, do you want to say what you learned from Seeing Red, or is there anything in particular?
It just made me realize, like, I didn't think, I guess, like, I know a lot about nutrition, but I didn't realize, I don't know, I guess because maybe just of our society and culture made me kind of separate my periods from the rest of my system. So then just reminding me like to, you know, like, oh, start eating healthier again. And maybe your periods won't be so bad. Like instead of just like accepting that this is happening to me and this is just what happens. And it's not that my health might not be, you know what I mean? Like for anything else, like I get a cold, I know what to do. You know what I mean? Or I have digestive problems, I know what to do. Or I'm having some sort of symptom. I'm like, oh, probably this, like, and I adjust. But when it came to my period, I completely separated that until this book, because the whole, it's common, but not normal. I thought it was just normal. Right.
Oh,
so
like you took it out of your ecosystem in a way.
So my periods were getting worse and I just thought that was normal. And now like taking some caffeine off and like I did the pumpkin seed stuff, but then I also like made sure like I had run out of multivitamins. So maybe that was affecting it. And I remember before when I had a problem, I had a deficiency in magnesium. And it just makes you like, and I'm doing more smoothies again and stuff and doing things for me. Whereas I often like would be motivated to do things for my kids' health. Like what would they like? But now because of this book and because my periods have been so bad, that I'm just buying stuff that will make me healthy. Do you know what I mean? Just for me, because I know they're not
help the rest of the family too.
Right, it will help
if you
them,
have this
right?
barometer, maybe you can help the rest of the family also maintain health.
Totally. So anyway, it was helpful in the sense that it reminded me, and also like I was doing 8 hours sleep, but the fact that she put in the book two things that she put in the book that really surprised me, that a period is supposed to be 4 days. And it was supposed to be like every 4 hours that you're supposed to change your pad and stuff like that. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was supposed to be 28 days. I didn't know there was a healthy period time. I thought everyone's just different. And then these are all the symptoms that could happen to you. And then also the sleep thing, because I always thought, and maybe because our mother, Mare, she's like, as long as you get 5 hours, like, where I thought I was good getting 8, right? Like, and I remember you guys saying something and I was like, oh, as long as I get 8, I'm okay. But a couple of you were like, oh no, I have to have 10. It just made me rethink things. Like, yeah, I should be focusing more on, if I was somewhere around 8, I was happy, right? Like I'm doing my part being somewhere around 8. And then sometimes I'd go later. I just wanted to read this book or something and then have a crap day the next day. So anyway, so this book just kind of reinforced all the things I know to do about my health, but didn't make me realize that maybe these horrible periods were because you're
neglecting your health.
I was neglecting my health without really realizing it. Right. So
I liked it too, that the reminder about all the physical stuff, but also the mental stuff. Cause I mean, that's going to be my question to Kirsten, but you know, I knew a lot of the stuff that was in the book, but I just find the reminder that, you know, that your mental health actually physically affects you. So those months when I'm like, fuck, like this is the worst, and I'm anticipating it and I'm feeling emotional about it and I'm worried and I'm all of that stress and all of that, like everything is going to affect this bit too, like this and this, like my top and my bottom. And so the reminder to try to keep yourself centered, try to meditate, even when you're not feeling like it, do a little bit of exercise, get your sleep, you know, get your mental state. And then hopefully you can handle, especially for me, because my periods are so horrible with the endometriosis, that, you know, trying to do all the other steps, but also try to keep your mental state. And I think that was
so
a good reminder.
It's so hard. Like, you know, the things, you know, that some things will make you feel worse. And sometimes when you're feeling bad, those are the only things you want to do. Right. and it's so the reminder is so important, being like, well, I'm starting to feel, you know, if you're starting to feel depressed, or to be like, oh, I just don't want to go outside at all because I'm depressed. But that's when you should go outside. Right. You're like, oh, just get the coat on and the boots and let's go. Right. And then you're like, oh, of course, like, because you know it, but it's just so easy to go for the comfort. And being like, whatever, I feel bad, I'm just going to have a glass of wine or two, or a bottle.
Or have that extra glass of wine, or have chocolate, or have whatever, have the chips or the crap food that you're feeding. But you know mentally that, no, that's not going to make you should be eating the vegetables and the fruit, because that's going to make you feel better. But all you want is the chocolate and the wine and the laying and watching Netflix or doing whatever.
Totally. Yup. And then I say to myself, oh, why am I feeling so bad? I feel so bad today. And then it'll be like, maybe like the bag of chips or whatever it is.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also really like how she mentioned that conference, that the guy was like, picture yourself having bone cancer and every day do this guided meditation. And people were like, I don't want to do that. I feel like it's going to give me cancer. And he's like, okay. And then said, now do something for having a healthy life. And then people still didn't buy into it. He's like, but it's the same thing, right? You feel like it was a good reminder to me, because I used to like just do these little mantras ever so often to be like, especially when the coronavirus started, I did it with the kids, like these little songs and stuff about being healthy and happy and whatever. And it just reminded me that like, you just, I don't know, I feel like you do these things and then you just get out of the habit, you just get out of mindfulness. and health generally. And then something like this book comes along, you're like, oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Why did
It's
I
like
stop
it
doing
provided,
that?
yeah, it's like it provided for all of us in some way the reminder of the motivation of why behaviorally we are wanting to make certain choices. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was almost like somewhere along the line, it's as if we all experienced in some way that derailment of cognitively knowing being in nature or eating healthy food is good. But yeah, like reading, seeing red, it was like, yes, it was that inspirational motivation again. It's like, yeah, that's why I'm downing the flaxseed. Yes, that's why, because it's good for me. It was great to have the motivation again, right? Yeah.
Leah, is there anything that you took from this book?
I don't think I realized until today. I think part of the reason why I'm so nervous to do the interview with her is, sorry, I know I always cry. I don't know why I'm such a crier.
I think we should stop. Like, even I was thinking this the other day. Sorry to interrupt, Julie. I'd take a breath, but we should just start crying. Because I was thinking about the other day how we're always like, oh, everybody get ready. Here comes an expression of emotion, right?
Yeah,
just
I don't
cry.
apologize for laughing.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm not gonna laugh. Here it comes, right? Anyway, sorry, I didn't want to seize you.
Yeah, I'm projecting that it's all
good
like
one, KJ. Yeah,
like it's like I'm passing on the crying disease to you.
No, we'll all cry. Yeah. That's empathy. Like that's what women like. Anyway,
well, lock down the old empathy vibes, girls. I didn't realize until today or this conversation how important this book in mindset of not over-identifying with my anxiety as that is me. And I've been a tremendously I hate this. Okay. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at being looked at.
Oh, I know.
When I'm emotional. I've just been doing therapy for a couple of years now, and I'm trying to talk about things for the first time, but it's embarrassing. It was such an important book because though my mom had mentioned PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and I'm not diagnosed and I don't know, but it's really my anxiety attacks and my agoraphobia attacks, and a lot of them tend to line up in not every month, but like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like I have a cycle, like this 28-day cycle, and then a 3-month cycle, and then a year's cycle, and then a 7-year cycle. They always line up with premenstrual stuff with me. And I never really put it together until I started really thinking about like these attacks and these, just like all the PMS symptoms, we all know them, might be partially to do with my female health. And I just never thought of it like that. And it really helped me open my eyes. And obviously we just read the book. So like maybe the door is just opening, but like how I can maybe move forward and like forgive myself for being so this way. I just never really forgave myself for being so, I guess, menopausal and upset. And I hadn't forgiven myself, and I'm clearly not all the way there yet, but that this might be common, but not normal, I guess.
Yeah, common, but not normal.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of women out there that are feeling exactly the way you're feeling right now.
I just felt like I had no control over my life.
Because when you're talking about forgiving yourself, there's still that feeling you have where when you lose control, you feel like it's your fault. And having this information saying it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And shame on society for not having a framework to teach you that there's something you can do about it.
Yes.
Instead letting you suffer and in silence in some ways, because it's hard to be out of control.
You don't have to define yourself too. That's what I think one of the things that she talked about too,
that
and
mindset
for you
piece.
And me, and like that you don't have to, like, I don't have to define myself by my endometriosis or by my pain or by that is, like you wouldn't define if you had another kind of disease, you wouldn't, it wouldn't. Now I'm going to be, okay, I'm not apologizing. That you don't have to define yourself, Leah, about that. Like, that is a disease. It's something that's happening to you that isn't, your fault. And also isn't something that, like, it's very difficult to mentally try to separate yourself from those symptoms, I guess.
Yeah, like I want to be accountable as a person who, like, if you act in a manner that's like, you know what it's like when you have PMS sometimes and you just like everything irritates you. So I want to be accountable and not just be like, well, it's my period's fault. I don't mean it like that. I just mean, that I don't want to give myself another label like PMDD now.
Mm-hmm. And
I
think that's what
this is maybe giving me some answers or at least an avenue to explore. Cause I just really want to be my best self because I've got a little girl watching.
And also, like, it makes me think of the Untamed thing too. Like, it's a cage, right? Like, you don't want to be in that. Like, this book seeing read, even for me, it's thinking, I'm just going to put up with this for 10 years. She's like, nope, no, none of us need to put up with this. You don't have to put up with what's happening to us every month. We don't. There is a way out. And here are some ways that you can start seeing if
really easy things too.
Yeah. No, like sleep and stop drinking so much coffee.
Yeah.
That returns us back to the importance of acknowledging women's health in such a way that it's not something weird or something that you should be penalized for if that is what you need to do to, manage whatever your symptoms are. I think something else that I might have heard from what you just said is that, this book offered the possibility that something else is going on where before this book, maybe you just had to think like, am I just an asshole? Like,
well, I am, but I kind of had come to terms with my assholeness, but
this is what I mean,
but
though,
as if
right?
It's not all of
accepted
me. Yeah. I was letting it shape my self-worth, my worst parts of me that are honestly, I spent way more of my life being the happy, fun person that I am, who doesn't have anxiety, who's really high functioning and gets a lot of shit done. But I judge myself on this, 5% of the time that I'm my absolute scariest self. And I'm like, why am I doing that?
Right.
Why did I choose that mindset? Like, just like the book said, it's just, I haven't read a self-help book in a while and I forgot to remember.
Yeah.
And it is like, the more, like, look at us just talking about our menstrual health, how much, imagine people not being included in this discussion. This was so important today. We've all had so many like learnings, and if anything, it's like our self-respect for ourselves and our worth in our bodies have come back. And that was a beautiful gift that the author blessed us with. It's a matter of human rights.
This kind of information needs to be taught like in schools, like this. I'm definitely giving this book to my daughter, like, so she just knows like to go forward confidently. Daughters, I should say. Daughters. I'm just thinking about my oldest right now.
You're feeling like you're on a time crunch.
Yeah, she's actually has to wrap it up because she's going straight into a period conversation.
She might have a period any moment now.
It's happening.
Some kids at 9, right?
Does Mare or Kara want to add anything? You guys didn't get a chance to say what you learned about.
The reminder I liked was talking about the number of people in the world who don't have access to period products and maybe live in a society where the stigma is way higher than in ours and are suffering even more. So not only do they have no access, they don't have information, and they're also being, treated like there's something wrong with them to boot, and being excluded from opportunities like education and working and worship in some cases as well. And like, when I was in high school, I went to that like environmental program. And so like there was, with the friends there, like I remember we had this day where we did like this like women's sleepover thing at a school. I think we rented a school. And it was almost like a little like, I'm going to say like a conference where each person talked about different things, like activism type things. And one of the ladies talked about how to make your own menstrual pads. And she had like a little like workshop on how to do it, and talked about the inequality around periods and stuff in the world. And I guess I just forgot about all that. And the numbers she gives in the books is just astounding. Makes me want to do something, I guess. And I just don't know what to do. But it's definitely something that needs to be talked about, because there's just so many people. I mean, we're suffering just like there's people with periods suffering all over the world, and some are just suffering so much more. It'd be nice to do something. I know that, Sarah introduced me to World Pulse. So I've been on World Pulse, and there's a lot of women on there who are putting up articles and stuff to try to teach people how to make, homemade menstrual pads and stuff and things like that, and trying to educate as well. So there are people out there doing a lot of stuff like that.
So cool.
Oh, did you watch The Period End of a Sentence?
I did.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that was pretty good. That won an Oscar, I think. It's a short film documentary. It's on Netflix, I think. Did I find it on Netflix?
Yeah,
I think. Anyways,
okay.
It's basically about and these machines that were brought in so that women could make menstrual pads, but also could then have a business so that they could sell them so that they could make money. It's really worth watching. And it started this program so that these women can then be self-employed, and then they go out and sell them. And then also it allows for more menstrual pads to be available for women. Which
and maybe gets rid of the
Incredible.
stigma, and this stigma of people talking about it, because then they're like, I have my own business, I make menstrual pads. You know what I mean? So then they're talking about it.
And the men, it was really interesting because the men were all like, ooh, what are they doing? What are they doing? And they're all like getting in and trying to like look and see what they're doing, and wanted to come in, and some of them wanted to learn what they were doing. And that was pretty cool too. So then the men kind of learned a little bit too. It's totally worth watching. Period. End of a sentence. Short, like
Cool.
I don't know, half an hour or something, maybe. Not a long.
Watch it tonight.
Carrie, you didn't get to say anything.
Oh,
You
yeah,
wanna say
maybe
something
you
quick,
wanna say
or-
something? Is okay?
I don't need to add anything else. I'm just so I do not have the words to express how appreciative I am, Lindsay, that you selected this book, that you're just like, this is the perfect time. Let's do it. To have been a part of the journey of listening to Leah as she reads the book has been a dream come true. I'm really thankful for. And just being able to talk more on it. As your sister, it's been the most wonderful thing to see you stop internalizing messages to yourself that were a bit more negative, and to see the light again, to hear in your voice that you have hope and that there's things that can go forward. And it just boggles my mind, like all of you, that this isn't just more normalized, but this is one contribution towards that, ladies. And I am so excited.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
Are you having a hard time waiting for the next episode because you can't get enough of the Book Interrupted crew? We've got you covered. At Unpublished, you can connect with all sorts of behind-the-scenes action. It's like an all-access backstage pass. Go to our website at www.bookinterrupted.com/unpublished for your free trial today.
Moments you can look forward to on next week's Book Interrupted.
The man one is already what medicine is. And then, you know what I mean?
So, we call that, the medical profession.
Right. We call that med school.
And I was like, Dad, well, my period, the blood went everywhere and I have to clean the mattress.
To the end where that one mom talks to her teenage son.
I was drier than the Sahara Desert.
More easily see the things that we've been conditioned to believe.
Except for the fact that we kind of are.
No, I don't want her to be surprised.
Book Interrupted.